This talk is Meet Your Greatest Enemy, Discouragement, or How to Become Immune to Discouragement. Tell you a story. Arnold Schwarzenegger was born in Austria in 1947, but he didn't want to stay there. When he was 11, he saw this documentary about the high rises in America, and he said, I want to go there. But he didn't have the money to get there. Later on, he saw this magazine with Reg Park, who was Mr. Universe 3 times and starred in the movie Hercules. And so he was all interested in Reg Park, and he found out that Reg Park worked out like 3 to 4 hours a day. But when he saw this, Arnold Schwarzenegger said, this is the blueprint of my life. This is what I want to do. I want to be a bodybuilder, and I want to make movies, and I want to be a millionaire, and I'm going to be rich and famous, just like Reg Park. And so he said he felt good because at last he had a goal, he had a plan. He said not a lot of people have a plan. Not a lot of people like their jobs or their life, but he had a plan, and he hung on to that thing. He worked out 5 or 6 hours a day, and people would ask him, why are you smiling when you work out? Nobody else around here is smiling when they work out. And he said, every time I lifted, I imagined I was lifting my trophy. Well, it worked. At age 20, he went to London, and he became the youngest Mr. Universe in history. And then he went on to win that title 4 more times and did 8 more bodybuilding championships. Because when he heard the word can't, he heard can. When somebody said no, he heard yes. When he heard impossible, he heard possible. And Nelson Mandela said everything seems impossible until someone does it. So he did all this, and then he told his agent, okay, next, movies. And guess what his agent said? Just laughed. Said, you're too big, you've got an accent, and nobody can pronounce your name. So Arnold went and talked with a lot of other agents and managers. And guess what? They all said the same thing. But he didn't care. He had his vision. So he moved to America. He went to college and he studied acting and English and accent removal. Made his first movie, Hercules in New York. Went in the toilet. Made 3 more movies. But then he got discovered. He was asked to be Conan the Barbarian. And that became the biggest hit that year. And they said to him, if you wouldn't have had this body, we would have had to build one. And then he got asked to be Terminator. And they said to him, if you would have had this accent, this thing would have never worked. So he said, what do you know? My accent and my body became assets, not liabilities. You know, so he just turned things around, including went on to becoming the governor of California. I've coached a lot of people in sales, and I know what it's like, what I've done myself when I was in it, and also when I've coached people. I know what it's like when they pour their heart and their love and their vision and their effort and their time and energy into people, and then they quit. They disappear. They go missing in action. They say they're going to make their calls and they don't. They say they're going to bring people to the meeting and they don't. They say they're going to come to the meeting and they disappear. They say, oh, they're going to go to the top and they never even start. They say they're going to sign up and you can't find them anywhere. So, yeah, this can cause disappointment and discouragement, can't it? I coached one fellow who was so discouraged, he lost a whole leg of his team, his sales team. He was so discouraged, he quit. Discouragement knocked him out of the game. What could knock you out of your game? Is it possible to become immune to discouragement? I'm here to say yes, and I'm going to share with you 5 tips how to do that. Number 1 tip, be willing to be disappointed. Be willing to fail. Robert Kiyosaki says, the size of your success depends on how you handle disappointment. Your trials are there to make you great, not just to hold you down. Ray Higdon suffered a big business setback, And he moped around the house for days until his wife said, "Okay, that's enough. Time to get back on the horse." Eric Worre rebuilt his business 8 times. Some of you know Eric. I do. He's a good friend. Roland Macy. You know, if you've heard of the famous multi-million-dollar Macy's department store? Well, Roland Macy, before he started that, he failed in 6 other stores. And he brought that experience to this one, and that's what made it work. All this is learning that he brought. The Tibetan Saint Milarepa rebuilt the same tower 4 times. And in fact, it's the time and energy and even money that we invest in a project that makes it valuable to us. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job. They told him he had no imagination, and he went bankrupt in his life. Rodin, the famous art sculptor, failed 3 times to get into art school. Henry Ford, the famous auto king, went broke and bankrupt 5 times. Babe Ruth, who at one time in baseball held the greatest number of home runs, but he also held the record for the greatest number of strikeouts. Winston Churchill, a famous statesman, failed 6th grade and had a lifetime of setbacks and defeat. Einstein couldn't talk till he was 4, and his teacher said, "He'll never amount to anything." Oprah was demoted as a news anchor, and they said, "She's not fit for television." The Beatles, they told him, "You have no future in music." Steve Jobs was removed from the company that he started. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before he invented the light bulb. And Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, had 10 major setbacks in his life that nobody would have faulted him for quitting after each one of those heavy setbacks. So that was the first tip, is to be willing to be disappointed. Second tip, to become immune to discouragement, is learn from our failures. Robert Kiyosaki said, "If I learn the most from making mistakes, let me make a lot of mistakes." You know, the formula for success is double your rate of failure. And learn from it, of course. Personally, I have lost a lot of money twice in investments. What I learned from that is do more research, ask trusted advisors, and test a small amount of money before I invest a lot. But I'm still investing. I didn't let it knock me out of the game. When my clients are missing something, when I'm coaching my clients, we look and see, well, what's missing in their life? You know, is it skills? So then we get their skills up to a 10 of what their particular occupation is. And if it's mindset, that's my specialty. I help people to clear that. If it's accountability, that's what some people use a coach for. They get a trusted mentor, upline, or spouse, or accountability partner to help them with that. If it's confidence, there's a number of power poses you can do for confidence, as well as get your skills up and do things a lot of times to get the experience, get your confidence up. If it's vision, you may want to increase your why, increase your your purpose. But let us not pray away our challenges. Saw a quote the other day that said, "The thing that you ask God to change is the thing that God brought to change you." So we need to become immune to discouragement. We can look and see, well, what is the gift in this thing? Now, years ago, I used to be one of the house parents for 6 teenage kids who were handicapped. They were aged 13 to 15, but they were handicapped physically and also mentally. Their mental capacity was about 1 to 4 years old. And so what we did, the house parents, we set up the backyard, big backyard. We set up it up as an obstacle course. And we put down tires and that they had to step in and out of, you know, to increase their ability and strength and capacity. And then we set up things they had to crawl under and things they had to crawl under, over and under and all that. But what if they went to bed that night, you know, every night and said, "Please take away the obstacle course. All I want to do is go out and swing." You know, if they did, then they wouldn't have gotten that strength and capability in their bodies. But, you know, I think they really did enjoy it too. It became a game for them. So number 3 tip to become immune to discouragement is patience. The apple tree didn't get there overnight. It took years to grow tall enough and roots strong enough to produce the leaves and the flowers and the apples to give to the world. And it takes time, especially for entrepreneurs. have to realize that there is a learning curve or a curve in the beginning where you put a lot of effort out and don't get paid a lot. So in the beginning, you're learning and you're gaining that momentum, but the rewards come later on down the line. Like one of my clients said to me, Bess, it's ridiculous how much we earn for how little we do. But she and her husband paid the price in the beginning. They did that. They built up to that point. They used to be school teachers. Holton Buggs, the famous network marketing multimillionaire, said it took me 16 years to become an overnight success. And another multimillionaire friend in network marketing, Melody James McFarland, said she did 16 years of personal growth work before she and her husband found the right company that they really then took off with. The famous UCLA basketball coach John Wooden says he coached his team. Do not look at the scoreboard. Just focus on getting better every game. Better your game, up your game. And Robert Kiyosaki said, work to learn. That's more important than the money. If you get paid or not for that thing that you learn, or you have to pay for it for education, the most important thing is that you learn. Charles Dickens, back in England long ago, back then he was as famous then as the famous rock stars are now. And he wrote for years for free before he got good and became famous and rich and all that. And so did your favorite musician. If you look and see, not all the songs are hits. And in the beginning, the songs sometimes just weren't that good, but they worked up to it, didn't it? So count what you're learning as you wait and as you try to be patient. Look at this. Look at the skills that you're getting. Maybe you're learning how to be good with people. Maybe you're learning persistence. Maybe you're learning how to set goals. Maybe you're learning discipline or vision or creativity. Look at what you're learning on the way. It's great to become a millionaire, but it's really the person that you become on the way that's even more important. And a lot of people know this in marriage. They do things for the marriage, for the person becoming a better person. And if we become 1% better a day, over a year we become 365% better. That's a pretty good deal. Also, a coach or a mentor who's done what you want to do can help you to get there faster, easier, better, and farther. Number 4 tip to become immune to discouragement is gratitude. Gratitude opens the heart to all sorts of creative possibilities and helps to take away that discouragement. Remember when you were the most happy or the most successful. That's how Tony Robbins helped a famous athlete who was stuck one time, kind of stuck in a slump. And Tony said, remember when you won, and keep that mindset. And he helped him to keep that so strong that the guy went on to win again. Number 5 tip to overcome discouragement is an attitude of service. When we do something for a higher vision, we become immune to discouragement. When we do something for a noble cause, no matter the outcome, we're not discouraged. When we do something for love or for God or for the right reason, we grow. And that's the reward. How we feel from doing that is the reward, and how we grow is the reward. Okay, now I'm going to recap the 5 tips, my 5 tips to become immune to discouragement. Number 1 is be willing to be disappointed. Number 2, learn what's missing and go get that. Number 3, have patience while you learn. Number 4, gratitude opens the mind to creative solutions. And number 5, service for its own sake. I hope this helps to make you immune to discouragement and to never give up until you get there.